Hey, John, it's Jack, and I literally just opened this. So, what I do is I read it and comment as I go as if I was a reader, and you can sort of hear my thoughts as hopefully you would hear a reader's thoughts as he or she reads through the first 10 pages of your script. So, some of this could range from character to dialogue to plot to formatting to typos to whatever. So if it seems to be a bit nitpicky, that is the reason why. Just imagine. Excuse me. All right. This spacing seems a little too big right here. Just thought I would let you know. Fade in. There's an ongoing debate about whether to include fade in or not. If I include it, I would put it over here because it's not a transition, it's sort of a beginning. But anyways, mid 1940s. All right, so first question is the house from the 1940s, or is the time period in the 1940s? I don't know, because a slug line, I mean, if it's the 1940s, I would say under here super 1940 or 1942 or whatever, or mid 1940s. Shouldn't have an apostrophe here. If the house is from the 40s, but the time is not, then you would say a house built in the 40s or with 40s decor or circa 1940 or something like that. So, unfortunately, right off the bat, I don't know. I'm confused, which is not a good thing. A single lit lamp. Lit lamp. So then I'm thinking lamp. So it is lit as in with a wick. It's like a candlelight lamp as opposed to electrical lamp. Not sure. It's a darn but muted cream wallpaper pattern with pale green vines. Is this super important? This the look of the room? I assume it is. Small desk typewriter with a blank page set. I assume that means it's got a piece of paper in it with nothing on it. I would say a typewriter sits on a small desk because you've got extra commas here that you don't need. I'll make this comment once. There's sort of a ongoing thing in the good old days, or even the medium old days. Active sentences were always preferred to passive sentences. So instead of the silence is broken, you would say mechanical bring breaks the silence. Some people use a little bit of passive and some active, some all of one and not of the other. I mean, when you think of it, active is probably preferred because it is active instead of passive. On a small table near the door, rotary phone with a receiver and cradle is ringing. All right, you don't need a comma here, and ringing should be capitalized. There's also another ongoing debate about what all you capitalize and what all you don't. Certainly, if you make this bring here, then is this I assume is the same as this, so that's a little confusing. This must be off screen, and then we cut to this shot here. But something to think about. Across the room from the small table, we haven't seen her yet. We've seen this. We've seen the armchair. We've seen the walls. We've seen a desk. We've seen a small table near the entryway, but we haven't seen Maggie. Where is Maggie? She's not anywhere that we've seen so far. It seems a little odd, unless this is a big room. A garbadine. I don't know what that means. Cinched at the weight, a small brim hat, tilted, a net veil, and dark ribbon. All right, very specific for some reason. All right, this is repetition. You don't have to say another ring. Bring, you can just say bring again. Because think about, how do you visually show another, the word another. I do that a lot too, and then I usually get rid of them in later drafts. So all you have to have here is bring. She steps forward. So she looks up startled. She's across the room, and suddenly she's standing. She stepped forward, and she's picking up the receiver. So does she cross? Do we jump cut? That needs to be a little more visually clear. Maggie, get out of there. Voice VO. So VO should be in parentheses. We need you here. Maggie, get out of there. We need you here. That's a little confusing. Maggie, get out of there. We need you here. He hasn't got much time. Hurry, Maggie, they're coming. This parenthetical should not be here. It should be approximately here. So I don't know what sort of screenwriting software you're using, but that needs to be adjusted. How does this guy on the phone know they're coming? This just seems way too wordy. Either maybe Maggie, he hasn't got much time. Maggie, we need you here. This just feels like too much. She drops the receiver. I won't keep pointing it out, but you have a lot of unnecessary commas. I don't know why there's a comma here. It's 4 men in dark suits and hats burst through the doorway, movement sudden and threatening. She drops the receiver. She's already standing. Why would the guy in the dark suit assume that she's going somewhere? It's interesting that he knows her name. If he's going to say anything, I would assume it would be prompted because we see her try to slip out the back door or she makes a break for it or something. And then he says going somewhere. And I mean, it doesn't say she sees them, but I assume she sees them. So again, unfortunately, just sort of confusion. I don't know what movement sudden and threatening means. Is that after they've burst in? Are they approaching her threateningly? Something like that? They close in on her. She backs away, then is engulfed by them. So again, one more time, passive is how it's written. Maggie backs away, they engulf her. That's active. All right. Burst through the door. Wait a minute. She's engulfed by them. That generally tells me that they've captured her. I mean, surround her, they approach her. And now, next thing we know, she's bursting through the door, running to the curb. Rain drizzles under the street lamp. I don't know if that's important that it's raining. You could just say it's raining. She mounts a black BMW cycle with sidecar, kicks it to life. That's interesting. She speeds into the misty night. So the rain is drizzling, and now it's misty. So unfortunately, again, confusion. The world featureless except for the narrow road ahead. That's nice. Headlights bloom behind her, closing fast. Headlights bloom. That sounds like they've just turned on, like the guys are getting in the car, but now they're already closing. Maybe appear behind her. I don't quite get that visual. Maggie leans forward, her eyes fixed ahead, determination cutting through the fog. Okay. So we've got rain, drizzling, we've got mist, and then we've got fog. 3 different phenomena, pretty much. It would be interesting if it was always fog, because you could have a neat visual right there. A foggy night is probably more exciting than a misty night, so I would maybe clean that up. So the headlights gain about to catch her. Obviously, the cars are what's going to catch her. There's buildings, and Maggie turns sharply down a side street. So is that like a convenient out of nowhere? How far is she driven? Because we're exterior house, and without a change of scenery, we assume, I mean, I don't know if this is a neighborhood, if this is a city house, exactly what. There's no indication here. And suddenly there's buildings and she's um, hiding down a side street. The chasing car, there's only one car chasing her. The chasing car passes the turn, screeching to a stop. So as it passes the road, the side street, it's not a turn. They don't pass the turn. They miss the turn maybe. The chasing car screeches to a stop or passes the side road, screeches to a stop, the side street, zips down the side street, but stops. I don't think you need the word but in there. She jumps from the cycle, continuing on foot. So okay, a man in a dark suit appears nearby heading for her. Where did he come from? Did they jump out of the car and he's run all the way down the side street? Is this another car and the guy's appearing somewhere else? Appear nearby is, I think, a little too nebulous. He lunges at her, unarmed, grasping for her. Those are kind of the same thing. I don't think you need both of those. He lunges at her, ducks his reach, and throws herself into him, pushing him, tumbling into a construction ditch. It's a little wordy there. Throws herself at him. He tumbles into a construction ditch, but she doesn't, even though she throws herself into him. I think it needs to be more apparent that she maybe shoves him or something, because if you throw yourself into him, you're going to go with him most likely. But here she's running away, panicked as time slips by. That's not needed. We know that she's panicked. So at the very least, I think you need to give us a new slug line, because we're clearly not exterior house anymore. We're down the street or we're in the city or something. We don't know if any time has passed or not. A building labeled hospital. So in other words, she sees a hospital. I don't think her eyes need to widen in the discovery. She just hurries for it. Then the car chasing her. So this is geographically confusing to me. There's only one car chasing her. It went by the street. Someone maybe got out of it and chased her on foot. And here the car is chasing her again from around some random corner near the hospital's entrance. It stands there as if waiting for me to make. The car stands there. I think maybe the men hop out or something, make it a little more menacing than the car standing there, because the car doesn't really stand. She hesitates. She decides she can make it. So visually, I mean, this is not an action. She just sprints for the door. She doesn't have to decide. I mean, the decision, the sprinting for the door is the decision. So this doesn't really visually do anything. So it's funny that you keep saying the car and the car parts and not the people in the car. The car tires spin and accelerate. It's more visual. I think it's more interesting if it's people instead of a car, unless it's like that Stephen King movie. In an attempt to cut Maggie off from her goal. So to me, too wordy. The car, burns rubber trying to block her or getting him between her and the door or something. Suddenly, there's a voice over. That's not needed at all. Suddenly, what is suddenly as opposed to gradually? I would cut that out. This shouldn't be. Oh, so now you've got this spaced right, but this should not be capitalized. The B. Wait. That's not true. This is a true story. Wait, that's not true. Reaches the door. No common need. As the car comes to the curb and stops, the men hurry to exit. The men hurry to exit? The men pile out of the car, right? And follow Maggie inside. So this is interesting, but totally random. I thought that when I read that and I can imagine hearing that. It seems like the scene cuts and then we go to Alex. But apparently not. So Maggie weaves through bodies. She doesn't need to race weaving through bodies. Men in dark suits, knocking people down and crashing into things. No comma needed. We know they're in pursuit, so you don't need that. So now she's in a hospital room. So when you use continuous, it's obviously implies that no time has passed. The last time we saw her, she was racing toward a destination. Now she's standing in the doorway of her destination. So literally no time has passed between here and here. I would just get rid of continuous. There's a patient in bed with eyes closed. A nurse stands bedside. So the patient is not capitalized. Even if the patient doesn't say anything, at the least that should be a capital P. Nurse stands bedside. I'm sorry, we've lost him. So she's coming to the place where they told her to come because the person is about to die. I'm sorry, we've lost him. This is based on true events. No, still not right. Maggie runs to the opposite bedside. Why does she have to do that? That seems like, why isn't the nurse on the opposite side and she runs to the near side? Save some time. No, you can't be gone. We know it's not over for us. Okay, a little on the nose, I think. Slowly reaches down, kissing the patient. That's kind of an interesting... there's another script I'm going to read. Slowly reaches down, kissing the patient. I don't understand that. She reaches down with her hand, but then kisses him. Lights up a green, bouncing to life, in sync with rhythmic beats, and the patient look adoringly at each other. I don't know why there's a comma here. So she's brought the guy back to life kind of by kissing him. This is the story of a story. Yes, that's it. The scene becomes blurry. Maggie speaks in a strange, somewhat muffled voice. What a strange, somewhat muffled voice. Muffled, I understand. Strange, I don't know what that means in this context. Alex, what are you doing? Where were you? She's talking to Alex, who I assume is the patient on the bed. Is it important that we don't know and that there's a little confusion? Maybe. All right, there he is. Alex Carter, 26, shaken out of his daydream. So we've got more passive sentences. Is that the yelling at him? But this was Maggie, and now this is Sue. Sue yells at him from the doorway. Simple. You ditched the meeting? Are you crazy? I forgot I was working on something. The stats reports you were supposed to bring. Thanks. You left me looking like it. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. Yeah, whatever. HR is looking for you. Okay, this is okay. It could be a little sharper, but pretty good. I don't think she needs to abruptly turn, because if she leaves in a huff, that pretty much tells us all we need to know. I don't know what this means. Does it fade to black? I don't know. I've never seen that used. You could either leave it at this, or you could say Alex stands there flustered and concerned, whatever. Now he's standing anxious, waiting for Deborah on the phone. Who is on the phone? Okay, she hangs up, looks, then looks with a frown. Yeah, this is a little overwritten. I think that could be simplified. Alex stands in the doorway or wherever. We don't know where he is. Is he inside the office? Is he waiting at the door? Is he halfway across? That might be important, just body language wise or personal space wise. You know, he stands there. Deborah hangs up, looks at him, whatever. Alex, we don't need to know he's Alex. We already know that because we've heard it up here. Do I have your full attention? That could be a little quicker. Yeah, take a seat. We need to talk. This kind of makes it sound like she doesn't because he says, yeah. Or why can't the scene just start right here? Deborah says, we need to talk and points at the seat. Yeah, this, I keep saying I won't mention it again, but you've got a lot of commas in here. But I think a lot of the description needs to be reworked anyway, so I won't mention that anymore. Okay, don't need his name. To keep up in the marketplace, the plan is to leverage technology to help streamline the department. Unfortunately, that also means to eliminate. So as soon as we hear making changes, we know he's fired. So everyone is trying to leverage technology. So I don't think that's news. So I guess this is current day, and he was writing a story about the old times. I'm still a little confused. Is this present day or is this still the 1940s? I would guess it's present day, but I don't know. Barking back in response. So this is not needed here at all, because think visually, what are we seeing there? Alex interrupts her, barking back in response, knowing where this is going. That's visually really nothing. All he could jump out of his chair. You're firing me. I taught people I don't know what this means. Creo, is that a AI bot or something, or a language, or? And he doesn't have to say you're firing me. I mean, he could say something like you're replacing me with the programming that I introduced to the company, or you're replacing me with the AI that I introduced. I mean, bring in some irony or something. So this could be way shortened up. This could be way shortened up. Then let it do your job for you. What? It helped me. Your work has been scanning at 95% AI generated. You needed to make the jump to software engineer, but you didn't work on advancing your career. I don't really understand this. You don't think it hasn't been noticed, Alex? Wow. So I get the gist of it, but this is way too much for me, way too much dialogue. What do we need to know? We need to know he was recently out of college. Do we know how old he is? Yeah, 26. So he's been out of college for a while, assuming he just got one degree. So I like the idea of irony that they're replacing him with the AI that he introduced to the company. I mean, he could say that, and depending how much of a jerk she is, she goes, yeah, kind of ironic, isn't it? But this just feels like way too much exposition. Chronic daydreamer, we already know that. Who cares about being recruited? I had options. I mean, it's not it's not the company's fault he went to work for them. So, yeah, I don't know what sort of relationship between the company and Alex you want to set up here, or if Deborah plays any more part to this or not. But I would make this maybe 3 total lines of dialogue or something. She stares blankly, as opposed to what? How else can you stare? That's pretty much, I don't know, waiting for him to relieve. He's speechless. So he's fired. Yeah, I think it could be really clever and cool if this happened in like 3 lines of super punchy dialogue that was like subtext and ironic and all that good stuff. Smash to black as opposed to fade to black, I guess. Or just over black. I mean, look how much room you're taking up right there. You've got like 6 lines with nothing going on. And this will have to be reformatted because you wouldn't want Act 1. So this is a TV show, I guess. Maybe a procedural. I don't know what, because Act One. So this is basically the teaser. These first 5 pages, I guess, cold open or whatever. Don't know. Chaos to concept. This is a super on the screen, I guess. Alex sits over lunch with his longtime friend. How do we know they're longtime friends? We don't yet. So show it to us or tell it to us. How do you end up canned anyway? You're the AI guy and everything. Your boss didn't like that. Or another idea. What if he goes into the boss's, or this is HR's office, I guess, right? So HR is doing the firing. He goes in there. He looks at Deborah. Deborah looks at her, shakes her head, and then you just cut to black, and then you go into this scene here, and you can reveal what happened. And Elliot could even be the one to say, "Wow," kind of, depending what sort of friendship they have. Elliot would say, "Wow, kind of ironic. The guy who brings in the AI is the one who gets fired because of it, or whatever." Because all of this stuff is kind of, on the one hand, it's a rehash of what we've already heard. But if you cut all this earlier stuff out, you could still cut way down on this and get the gist of what's going on here and really drive us ahead to what Alex is already desperate. So what's he going to do on account of that? Alex grows tense and agitated, turns to his lunch, looks down at his lunch, starts eating his lunch. You think they discovered it themselves? I imagine they could. It did most of your work for you. Why not all? So what you needed to make the jump to software engineer. So he's not a software engineer. He's a coder, but he's not an engineer. And AI is doing his job. I would rework this and make it more succinct and make it more clear for the uneducated in AI, and exactly, because AI is obviously a huge category. So saying you're the AI guy, what does that exactly mean? He told me HR. Well, they said that you're going to have to learn how to pinch yourself. Oh, pitch yourself. Pitch myself. What are you talking about? I have a screenwriter friend. That's interesting. The current movie that I am editing right now that I wrote has to do with screenwriting in a way, which was why it was interesting when I read your log line. Not the same story at all, but I will send you information on it, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and you can watch my vlog about making my movie. Advertisement over. Back to your script. I have a screenwriter friend. He sold scripts that have become movies, all because he knows how to pitch. You're saying he writes stories for a living. Alex is unaware that people write movies for a living. I guess that's possible if he's totally not with it at all. I don't think interest peaked is necessary, because that is implied in his question. Yeah, but he sells them because he knows how to pitch them to people. That's a repetition of this. Okay, let's go see this guy. Cool. Leon's. Is Leon the guy's name, or is Leon a place? What? You got to be kidding. Your life is falling apart. Thanks. You really know how to make me feel better. I'm not sure why you moved out. Nothing. Your mom is great. She always feeds my love here. It was you losing your mind with them. How do you forget? No money, no choice. It's that or be homeless. You sure knows this? Okay, so 1, 2 and a little pages of dialogue, which I think could probably be 8 or 10 lines, because the gist is Elliot finds out Alex is out of work. he comes up with this idea. Wow, you need to learn to pitch yourself like this screenwriter friend of mine who's sold a bunch of movies and made millions of dollars. What? We need to see this guy. He can teach me how to pitch. I mean, is that basically what we want to get out of this scene? And then about the parents, that's kind of old, having to move home. Um, but you could work that in. But I think this could maybe be a page instead of two and a little bit. Yeah, I think you could. I don't know if this is like literally your first draft or second or how early on you are, but I think that could be quite a bit shorter. Interior Carter residence. Double rings, Margie Carter, 53, Alex's mom. I don't think you need to say that because we're going to find out. And we don't need his name again. You're out of work. That should be a contraction. You're out of work and broke, but happy you're here. Yeah, this doesn't feel like something a mom would say to her son. I don't know if he's been away for a week or a month or since college. And is the Carter residence in a different city, a different state? Give us some geographical information. Where is he? I'm dreading this. Oh, stop that. He's happy to help you. It'll be fine. So again, we're going to find out that Jenny is the sister. We probably don't need a last name. Why is she living there? We don't know. Is she just visiting based on this line? Living with your parents? I mean, okay. So I suddenly remember why he moved out. So we're going to get that. Visually, we're going to get that with his sigh that he resents his sister because maybe she is somehow successful and she's coming there for dinner. No, it's daytime. Then down the stairs. So Frank Carter comes down the stairs. That's all we need. He has a stern look that's hard to read. All right, then I don't know. This again just kind of feels overwritten. Don't worry, son, you'll get straightened out fast. Based on what? You graduated with honors. He knows that, and we know that, so I don't know that he needs to. He's trying to make his son feel better. Or does the dad just say, don't worry, I'm sure you won't be here long, as in, hint, hint, you better find a job and get out of here. But at the same time, it could sound encouraging. But again, just overwritten for me. The dad puts his hand on his shoulders. His hand on his shoulder? His hand on Alex's shoulder, giving him a tight-lipped look of condolences? I don't know visually what a tight-lipped look of condolence is. Yeah, so I don't know if the dad is based on Alex's concerns with Elliot, if the dad is being super sympathetic, he's being cynical, he's being ironic, or being, yeah, I don't know. Immediately whips around to his mom. Yeah, you told him everything I shared with you in confidence. How does he know that based on, don't worry, son, you'll get straightened out fast? Yeah, that doesn't quite track for me. What were you thinking? Your father's concerned for you. As if we'd. So Margie is saying, because you don't know it already, I'm going to tell you that your father's concerned from you. I got to get out of here for a little while. She just got there. Now he's leaving. Can hardly contain laughter with her hand up. Yeah, this hardly contain her laughter with her hand. Maybe Jenna holds back a laugh as Alex stomps out of the house or something. Just a lot. Most of your description is about 50% longer than it needs to be. And it needs to be more visual, because hardly contain a laugh is visual. Hand up near her mouth is visual, but you don't need both of those. Leon Price's house, evening. Assigned. Alex and Elliot are admiring a signed movie poster. How do they admire it? I don't know. Award plaques and other movie memorabilia fill the walls and shelves. Wow. Impressive. Enters with a smooth stroll, holding three bottle, holding one to each. Then holding, well, if he's got three, he's not handing one to each, because that would leave him none. So maybe just make that clear. Holding beers which he offers to the others. Welcome, boys. How's it going? So does Leon knows Elliot, but Leon does not know Alex. All right. So we certainly don't need this line. Maybe he just says, "What can I do for you?" looking at Alex. Or, "What can I do for your friend?" looking at Elliot or something. This guy needs some tips on how to pitch himself. So I'm picturing what happened before this scene. Elliot calls up Leon and says, "Hey, Leon, I want to bring a friend over." Leon says, "Why?" He goes, "I'll tell you when I get there." Or he says, "Hey, Leon, I got this friend named Alex who just lost his job. I told him you're a great at pitching. And even though he's not in the movie business, I want you to teach him how to pitch himself so he can get another job." So if he comes armed with that information into the scene, then Leon could give him the beers and then get right into it, saying, "Oh, pitching, eh?" or something like that. And that tells the audience that they've already gone over this and we don't need any of this stuff right here. I mean, if Leon started with something like, he looks Alex up and down, kind of sizing him up. He's kind of muttering himself, "Pitching, yeah, but you're not even in the movies. You're a computer programmer." So, yeah, I'm just thinking out loud of a way that you can really attack the scene with Leon having a killer sentence to start out. So just imagine that if all of this dialogue had happened, or Leon knows all this stuff, they get over there and boom, we're right into the conversation about pitching. Even though you're not a writer, I'll pitch you how to get a new job or something. Stands in front of a signed poster of The Matrix. So he wrote The Matrix. That's, I guess I'd have to look and see who the writer was. I thought the brothers wrote that, but plus using The Matrix like that might be a little copyright issue. You make a living by writing for creating stories. Alex already knows this, so why does he have to ask it again? I make stuff up and get big bucks. It sounds like he's talking to a class of like elementary school students. So yeah, I would sharpen this up because it just feels too chatty and we're not really getting anywhere. About storytelling and made up scripts. I just never written them down. You think it's easy. It's not. Why does Leon think that Alex thinks it's easy? Yeah, it feels, I don't know, the typical 26-year-old who is a computer programmer, super geeky guy. He knows nothing about the movie business. I guess that's a possibility. But this just feels not earned, as they say. It needs to be a little something conflict. They want two different things. Leon is upset that Elliot even brought him here in the first place. He's got more important things to do than tell this guy about screenwriting. because obviously he's not going to be a screenwriter just right off the bat at whether he's 26 or 36 or 106 if he hasn't teach me. Well, that's more than just tips. If you want me to share my magic, you take care of me, I'll take care of you. So that's an interesting, the ending of that scene is interesting, but it feels like either they need to talk about a lot of their stuff to set something else up, or this needs to be a really short scene. Maybe, yeah, just think of what's the conflict, what are the stakes, what are the wants and needs, all that kind of stuff. Because you take care of me, does that mean you look after me, you give me money? I have no idea. All right, let's see. Timeless restaurant. No idea what that means. I don't know. If it's an old time feel, then maybe if that's important, is there a magic element to this? Something's going to happen in here. The sign, hostesses of wartime memories tonight. Are we back in the 40s? Are we still in the? No, we can't be in the 40s. 3 of them are seated around a table near the middle of the room. I had dinner here to meet the magnificent magical Mega Man. I've seen that. You wrote it. You created Mega Man. That's right. If you want to know how to do this, you've come to the right place. I am the Prince of Success. I am the price of success. I am the price of success. What's plot? So, all right, I'm going to stop reading here. Alex, for being a coder, computer programmer of some sort, seems kind of ignorant, more ignorant than he should be, and kind of asking dumb questions, like he's super immature. So if that's the case, then I don't know how much the audience is going to sympathize with this guy. If he's gotten a super raw deal and, you know, maybe in high school he wrote some stuff, he made some short films, but his dad said, don't waste your time on that. You need to do something where you can make a living. And so he's got maybe a history. He could drag out some old stories, because he talked about being a storyteller, and we had that whole open with Maggie, so maybe that's going to come back into play. But it just doesn't ring true, and I don't know Leon. I don't know why Leon would help this guy. I mean, he said, if you help me, I'll take care of you. But let's find out what that is. It just feels kind of too simple, not quite sharp enough. He is the price of success. I don't know if that's like a kind of a play on words, since that's his last name. And I don't know why you have his first and last name here when you don't for the other characters. So in summary, make sure I'm recording. Yes, I am. Good. In summary, I think it's an interesting concept. It's probably not a novel concept. I mean, the original idea of the film that I just got done shooting and in the process of editing that I wrote a couple years ago, it kind of started out as a psychological thriller about a guy who listened to a bunch of pitches, stole one of the ideas, wrote a script himself, and then the people came after him. So this is a little bit-ish like that, except with an AI element. And so based on your log line, I can see where this is going. If I hadn't read the log line, I probably would still see where it's going. So I know maybe you can be at that cutting edge of the first person that tells the story of AI and its bad parts and good parts and how dastardly it is or how good it is, or I don't know where the story's going to end up. But I would say if that's the story you want to tell, it has to feel sharper, more immediacy, more stuff happening in less time, a lot less chatty dialogue. Um, as I said, I think the descriptions need to be tightened up and worked on just structurally and even grammatically. It doesn't feel super solid. And again, this may be a very, very rough draft. I don't know. So I generally ask people to send me like something that is very close to polished as far as they know. And I didn't do that, so that's on me. But those are pretty much my thoughts. And I hope there's something in there that is helpful. And good luck with it. And I'll see you around Facebook.